You are listening to Ffotocast, a podcast by Lloyd Wiliams and Phil Warren. We'll be talking all things photography, the wedding industry, and life as working professionals. Follow us on Instagram @Ffotocast and join us on Facebook by searching Ffotocast. Enjoy the episode.
Rinhandar, Philip.
Good afternoon, Lloyd.
How's it going? You right?
All right, yeah. It's nice to be back on video call.
Yeah, I know.
I've missed
9 days.
Face.
Oh, well.
Is it 9 days? Is that what it's been?
9 days ago.
Oh
Yeah,
my God.
yeah. We recorded the last episode 9 days ago. Last Friday.
9 days.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say anymore. I mean,
Doesn't time fly?
Yeah, and normally it's time flies when you're enjoying yourself, but I don't think that's the case at the moment, is it? It
No.
doesn't seem to be there. It's just Groundhog Day, especially for my kids
Yeah,
at the
I know.
moment.
It's been the longest January on record, I think.
Yeah, it has. Yeah, we don't need a
It's-
long January either. But
It is the last day of January today, so
yes, yeah.
happy days.
How has your January been then?
Oh, it's been fantastic, mate. Absolutely fantastic. No, it's been long, slow, and boring.
Yeah,
They're my top 3 words to describe this January.
I know.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's been an odd month, I think. Not much going on. Normally, January is like a strange month anyway, isn't it? With like weddings and wedding fairs and things like that. You feel busy, but you're not really that busy. Sometimes in previous years, that's the way I've kind of had it. But yeah, this year,
It's
stranger.
It's just odd. Obviously, because of the old Rona, nothing much has been happening. But yeah, usually January is really good and it's really busy, and it's the start of a new year and everyone's excited, and you got lots of wedding fairs going on and showcases and stuff. It's nice to see that there's inquiries still there and there's still people booking, but it's not as many as you would usually expect for a January. But
Yeah,
at least they are there nevertheless.
yeah, because
People are looking forward to next year. So
yeah, it's been a relatively busy month for me, bookings wise. I mean, I've sort of one of my better
same.
months that I've had in the past sort of like 18 months really. But I think a lot of it is the fact that people come into New Year's and they like, everyone's mindset is like, oh, we'll start in the new year. It's like you start your diet, which is another reason why I'm doing this podcast, because I can see how much weight Phil loses over the next couple of months. Because
week by week, we'll see you slowly disintegrating.
pretty chunky monkey at the moment. Whew, it's not
You'll be
looking
a skeleton
good.
soon.
This is not a good month to start a video podcast that we've started.
I know.
After a year. I mean, we should have done it a while back.
I should have had a shave. I should have had my hair cut, but yeah, whatever.
And
Whatever.
if you are watching this on YouTube as well, apologies for me wearing a jacket. I'm kind of famous for wearing a jacket most of the time anyway, because I don't know, I just like wearing a jacket, but it is absolutely freezing in here. It's a Sunday afternoon. No heating has been on for a while, and I'm looking at my heater and it's saying 12 degrees. So I'm probably 1 degree away from wearing a woolly hat, and that's just out the shot. So it might appear during this episode. But
that's the bonus for me being in this small little cupboard is it is actually quite, well, I wouldn't say warm, but it's not cold.
Yeah.
I had the heaters blasting for like 15 minutes before we jumped online. So
but
I noticed the heat pretty well.
I noticed that you've, like myself, I've got a different look in the studio today. You've taken the time out to, those nine days has been spent well, sort of tweaking your setup. I like it. So,
well, yeah, I mean, considering last week, which was our first YouTube episode, it was literally decided upon like 5 minutes before we started recording. So it was like
in typical fashion.
Yeah, I had a tripod on my desk. I had a light stand on my desk. It looked a bit rubbish. So I just basically moved my camera to a different angle. I haven't moved myself. I've just kind of swiveled sideways. So
I like it.
Yeah, it's a little bit more aesthetically pleasing than my untidy little shelf that I had in shot last week.
Yeah,
so.
the different angle. It's good for me because I've been meaning to pick your brains about the studio and kind of stuff you've got as well, because I'm getting a bit addicted to like people's studio videos on YouTube and house because obviously I'm planning to build a house at the moment, so I'm starting to look at
Cool.
Houses and layouts and design and I don't know, typical aesthetics for houses, modern houses, and this, that, and the other, and studios, especially obviously because I'm doing it now. So it's always like when you turned your camera angle around, I was like, oh, what have you got? Is that a palette gear thing on your desk you use for editing there? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
So I just sort of like nosing around that because I've never been to your studio, and a lot of people don't realize that, whilst you've been here, I think I was due to come down to you like the week or two after, and then obviously we went into lockdown. So it's been.
I'll have to give you
weird.
A studio tour.
Well, maybe. I mean, maybe we should do that, like a separate thing, like just doing a video of us doing a quick studio tour, so people can see kind of where we're at and what we
definitely
our layout and kind of, because I guess look, we might as well, isn't it? Some extra content for our YouTube channel, getting big time now. But,
well, I got 3 main rooms. So I've got like the room that I shoot in, which has got all my lights and backgrounds and props and stuff.
Yeah.
And I've got like what was my office where I held my meetings. I had like a sofa and a big desk, and that's where I work from. And then this was just like my storage cupboard where I am now. But because of the winter and I haven't got any central heating at the studio, I just decided to move my desk into the cupboard just to warm up a little bit. So everything's in here now, and this has been the main kind of room for me for the last couple of months. Cool. So when it warms up a little bit, I'll probably move my computers back into my office because this is a bit more bright and airy. But all the lights that you're seeing right now are all artificial. So I haven't got any windows in this room. So it's like a nice little cozy cupboard. Yeah. Perfect for recording audio.
Yeah.
And just kind of hiding away and doing some work. So
it's good. It saves both of us work now, because for anyone who's listening, Lloyd does the podcast and I've taken on board now to do the YouTube stuff, which I kind of feel Lloyd's pain on this one now, because you kind of had to learn a little bit of audio with, and stuff. I've had to do it as well, but I've decided to use DaVinci Resolve software. I've never used it before, so that was a bit of a learning curve last week.
I mean, but looks like you did a grand job though. It looked good.
Yeah, it's thereabouts. I think in an ideal world, I'd like to have done the proper feeds out of the camera and done the editing properly. But we've taken the feed out of Zoom and and the audio as well. Because I did have a few issues with syncing the proper audio that we use for the podcast app. So, I mean, it's just good for me to learn a new program and a small part of a skill set, with video. So, I'm keen on doing that video tour just to kind of put a bit more into practice a little bit. But
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because I know you picked up a little bit of video last year, didn't you?
Yeah. I've done a few little pieces. I just use Premiere to edit. So
I didn't want to pay for it.
Have you not got it included with your Adobe subscription?
No, I only got the photography pattern. Yeah, so I haven't really had any use for like in the whole suite or anything like that. I've always been able to muddle by, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It crossed my mind about it, but I just thought, well, I'm not really going to use it that much, but now it might be a little bit different. But I like the fact that, I don't know, kind of DaVinci does pretty much everything I need at the moment. And
it doesn't cost anything.
Yeah, that's the other thing as well. We don't be spending a huge amount of money for things we might not get anything back out of. But Paul,
our previous guest, Simon Huntley, was on about DaVinci Resolve. That's what he uses.
Right.
And I know Paul uses it as well. It seems like the kind of industry standard for videographers to use, but I don't understand how it's free.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Additional upgrades and plugins and stuff you can get into.
It is. There's DaVinci Resolve Studio, which is like just extra making different things, but
making movies and stuff.
Yeah, like I don't really know it, because I'm looking at it going, it pretty much feels like Premiere when I've used Premiere. So I'm thinking, what's missing? Why do I have to pay that extra money for? Pretty much, I'm not really hit that barrier yet. Maybe because of the stuff I've done on it, or
Yeah,
maybe maybe I will hit that barrier. Who knows? You know, we just have to see where it goes. But at the moment, it's free, and I'll go along with it. So, yeah, it's good. I mean, Paul Hunter Rose uses DaVinci, so he's obviously only lives opposite me, so I can,
so you can go and pick his brains whenever you want.
Pick his brains a little bit, yeah. And he's
actually, you can't just go and pick his brains because you're that would be forming a bubble.
That would be, but I can shout across the street. So that's my tin can and string.
Yeah, you can just open the windows and shout.
Yeah. Paul's recently had COVID as well, so he's had to isolate. Yeah, he's doing all right though. Is he
okay?
Him and his missus, yeah, they caught it somehow, and they kind of all done and dusted. I think they got a couple of little things that are left over from it, like sense of smell and taste, a little bit sort of lackluster, I guess. But so I seen him a couple of times, but that's interesting stories here with Paul. So if anyone listening, I started offering video because, well, basically, I should I tell that story?
Is that to your wedding clients?
Yeah. Should I explain why I started doing it? I'm not sure I have on here before. So let's go into story time with Phil. So it's normally you as Lloyd. It's normally you come up with a story. I know this guy.
I know. I got plenty of stories. Oh, no, but it's your turn. It's your turn this week. You tell us a story.
I shot.
Hang on, let me get comfy.
There you go. There, stretch out. I shot a wedding. I don't know. It must be 2 years ago now, and they hired a videographer, which is often the case. You know, we work with plenty of videographers during the years, and you know, you get a wide range, don't you? You get most are pretty good. Some are, you know, maybe a bit new, so they're not really that sort of clued up on where to be and this, that, and the other, and they just find their way and their style and stuff, and that's fine. And then some are just, they don't really care. You know, they've given up. They may be doing it for too long, and you know what it's like. You've seen them.
Yeah.
And, So after a while, I seem to have got like more and more of videographers, and this is nothing against videographers because we work with some amazing ones. Hence why I started offering it. But I started getting more and more where they just either useless or demanding or just didn't suit the way I used to do it. And it was just, it felt a bit weird in whatever way you looked at it, whether they were crap or whether they were really good, but then dominated everything. So I shot this wedding in Brecon, and this guy come up and he tapped me on the shoulder, and he's only like little fella in about 60s, and he said, "How you doing? I'm Dennis or whatever his name was."
Dennis. Did you just make that name up? Yeah,
yeah, I did on the spot. Yeah,
Dennis.
We'll use fake names in this case to hide his identity. And he's only a little fella, and I was like, "All right, how you doing? I'm Phil. Shooting today, so." I was like, look, you need anything, give us a shout, if I'm in your way or whatever. But I was thinking, look, you're not that big. I'm 6'1". I'm going to be shooting straight over the top of you anyway. So it's not a problem. If we get each other's way, we can figure it out. Yeah. And he said, oh, yeah, no worries. Thanks. Really appreciate that. He's like, oh, because I've worked with some photographers. They're a little bit, funny and this, that, and the other. And he's a really shifty character and stuff. So I was like, oh, okay. So I'm just going to grab my camera now. And he disappeared across the road. And he opened up the back of his van and he pulled out his camera. And not being funny, he was like out in 1980s grandstand. It was massive. It was absolutely massive. And I started chuckling now because it was almost as if he's been using that camera for the last 20 years. And he was 6'1" and he's just slowly shrunk down under the weight of it. So he's gone off to pick up his tripod and his camera from the car. He's got his camera, I should say, and he's picked this tripod up, and I'm looking there going, I'm looking around here thinking, is this a joke? Because
I bet it was like the biggest tripod you've ever seen.
No, if you think of the biggest tripod you can think of for a camera, it was bigger than that. So it was made out of what I thought was black scaffolding poles. It was that size. Right. Okay. And I started laughing. He coming towards me, and I'm looking at the size of it. It's got a chain between the legs, like full-on metal chain to keep it from like not splaying out. I started laughing because I'm looking at this tripod. It's not black. I thought he'd painted it black. It's actually carbon fiber just to try and make it a little bit lighter. So
Right. Okay.
he's wielding this thing around like I don't know. It's just no wonder he's sort of little fella, because this thing would have just shrunk him into the ground definitely. But so we're at the back of the church, and
That's what you'd call a little bit of overkill for a wedding.
I honestly, it was, and he kept telling me about his gear and stuff, and I was like, oh, right, okay. I was like, I've never seen anything like that because I've never been around any.
Yeah,
TV
that always makes me
production.
laugh. Like if you meet a new videographer, like they ask you what camera. Oh, what camera you got? Oh, what lens you got?
Yeah.
It's like, does that really matter?
No. I looked at it. I was like, look, even he's like, oh yeah, this is it's full high definition, and he's this sort of like a cheesy guy. Like I thought, okay, fine, right. I don't really care. Sort of like fine. And we've gone. And he's just, because everything's so big and cumbersome, and his style of shooting was just totally different to me. It's just, I just had enough at that point. I text Craig, from Cherished Memories from Swansea. I was like, look, you got to see this guy. Yeah. You got to see this guy. I was like, look, do you fancy shooting for me now and again? Because I can't, at least I want at least offer it to people. If they don't want to have it, then that's fine. But I can't have this guy or things like this anymore. It's just it's restricting the way I would work as well. Like, because obviously he's just dominating the area.
Yeah, and the problem is with those kind of guys, with the big tripods and their big like broadcast cameras, is that everything is like set up. So they'd be like, right, I need to go and set up now for this shot, and I need to go and set up for that shot, and it just like totally interrupts any flow of the day.
Stuff,
yeah, it's just absolutely getting in the way.
It is, and that was personified when we went to
I bet
a set of cornfields at sunset in up in Brecon.
Well, and he took his tripod with him,
and he took everything with him, and like he was, like I was shooting, getting some flare going on, shooting into the sun, getting some silhouettes, and just using the light and stuff. And he's like the opposite side, so he's in my shot, but getting stuff where it's just full on harsh light in their face and stuff. And I was like, what? Like I just stand in the middle of the field, just holding my camera, just knee deep in corn, and it's just thinking, what is this guy doing? Like, but then
I know.
But in the middle of the wedding, the way he was pricing his packages, and was basically, it wasn't like like we would do, or a lot of photographers will do like first ceremony to first dance, or there was natural chunks and stuff, wouldn't they? Where he would do it on a a minute basis of recording. So
really?
So if he recorded 4 hours, if it was only like 300 minutes or something stupid like that, that's your lot. That's what you'd have to get. And that's what you pay for.
You would just like purposely just film everything and say, oh, there we go. I've got like 10 hours times 60 minutes. That is however much. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Yeah. So, but the way he had it was like, up to like 200 minutes was X amount. And he was like, he's like this now. Look, I've just done, an extra like 30 minutes. I'm going to have to tell them they've gone into the next package and they're going to have to pay more money. I'm thinking,
well, halfway through the wedding.
Yeah. It literally, this is the conversation that we had sat down having food, and he's like, look, I'm gonna have to broach the subject now of them upgrading a package from gold to platinum or something. I was sitting there thinking, what is going on here? This is crazy. The way he done it, and he did. He actually went on to them and said, look, this is the situation. I filmed too much. Basically, you've gone into the next package. I'm either out here now, or you pay for and I stay for the next like hour or whatever it is.
That's crazy. So I was absolutely crazy.
I was dumbfounded.
Although saying that, I've had a few people upgrade their package on the day.
With you or with?
Yeah, but that is because usually my coverage ends like, just after the first dance. But there's an option to pay more for me to stay until like, 10:30, 11.
Yeah.
So it doesn't happen very often, but like, a few times they've just wanted me there till the first dance. But then everything's like kicking off and it's party time and the band are really good. And they're like, actually, is it cool if we pay you to stay until, the end? And I'm like, yeah. Sure.
See, this is
not as if I've got to rush off to do another job or anything,
So, I think I was finding that like as I was like, I haven't shot anywhere near as many weddings as you, and that's what I was finding. It was like I was looking at what other people were offering, and then it was almost like, oh, can you stay for this? Do you mind? We've got this planned, or we want fireworks or this, that, and the other. And I just went, do you know what? Forget it. I can't be bothered to have that conversation. I might as well just put my prices up and just that's it type of thing.
Yeah.
So do you find most people book you for longer now? Cover that, or do they go
no, not really. No, it's like an optional extra that they can tag on to a package if they want me to stay until 11 p.m.
Kind of like a second shooter fee type thing.
Yeah, it's just like an extra £150. So I think usually I'd be there till about 8:30, 9 o'clock. But if they want me to stay till 11, it's an extra 150. So sometimes, it depends on the couple. If they're a younger couple and, they got a lot of friends there and there's a band and, it's party atmosphere, then that is when they want me to stay. But some weddings, as I'm sure you've probably experienced yourself, the first dance happens and then everyone sits down and everyone's just chattering amongst themselves and the dance floor's empty.
Oh yeah, middle of summer.
I always think to myself, well, I'm glad they haven't booked me to stay for an extra few hours, because there would literally just be nothing to photograph. And it doesn't really happen much anymore. But certainly like years ago, I'd get asked to like walk around the tables, taking pictures of people at the table.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's just, I find that really awkward. Like everyone, and it's usually because there's groups of family that have met up, for the first time in a while, or friends, and they're all enjoying their buffet together. But they, that's where they're staying. Like, do you know what I mean? They're not going up to dance and stuff. So, Lloyd, do me a favor. Will you just walk around the tables and just like ask each couple to have a picture? And I'm like, nah, really, that's not like.
I will do that. But when I think it's the right time, like I wouldn't force it. I think they don't like it as well. It's like when you go to a club or something, and you got a person walking around with a camera. Oh, you want to photograph? Not really, no. So
yeah.
No, I'm the same. I mean, I'll do
also,
it if it's not forced.
If you're going to do it properly, you have to start moving the centerpiece out of the way, because usually that if you're trying to shoot, and it's quite hard to shoot half a table. You have to do it in two halves, so you'd have to move the flowers out of the way, or whatever's in the middle of the table. And it's just, I don't know, it's just awkward.
You're right. It never looks right as well, because to shoot a full table, everyone has to move around. So that means you have to do it on a wide angle lens of some sort, which is what I would be doing anyway.
Yeah, which means you'll also get the next table behind.
Yeah, it just looks a bit, it's all distorted. And typically at that time of night, you might be like, maybe shooting wide open as well. So then you feel like, oh my God, so
exactly.
It's never
everyone's going to be out of focus.
I understand it. It's just never a good photograph when you take it.
Yeah.
But
how I overcome that these days is, if anyone asks me to take a picture, I'll ask them to go and stand against a plain wall or something. I'll say, sure.
Come over here.
I can take a picture of you and your wife, but can you come and stand over here where, I've got my flash set up.
Yeah, definitely.
And at least I got a bit more control, and it's not a distracting background then, But
yeah, let's do it properly.
But luckily, I don't really get much of it anymore, because I hammer home the fact that it's all natural documentary stuff. So they don't kind of, get the inkling to ask me to do that. So
I'll do the same.
It's kind of like event photography. I don't know if you've ever done any of that.
Yeah.
So like I used to shoot for a company, like every year they'd have a Christmas ball, in the Celtic manner. So there'd be like 150, even 200 guests, I think, because everyone brings their partners and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was like rapid fire. I had like a little studio set up. So as they arrive in and having their drinks, I have to go and ask them to come and have a picture done and stuff.
Yeah.
Which is fine. That's easy. It's just a background with studio lights. Everything looks good. Great. And then they're like, right, and then I want you to go around the tables. And you're thinking, like, you're looking at the massive banquet hall in Celtic Manor, and it's literally like 200 people. All the waiters are trying to serve food, and you're like, just everyone's eating, and I'm like, do these people really want to have a picture sat at the table with food shoved in their mouth? I don't think, and I've already got a picture of them against a nice background
looking really good.
Yeah. So it's like, it's kind of like, this seems pointless because you got your nice picture, and then you got your not so nice food in your mouth picture.
I hate any time there's food around. I typically will avoid that. But the way I explain it is, and it'll probably be the same for you, is I'll naturally get those people in the photographs anyway. So if there's a table of aunties and uncles, I probably would have shot them through the day or somewhere else anyway. So it's not a necessity for me to go to that table and start photographing or interrupting their conversation and stuff like that. So it doesn't tend to happen too much now. I don't think. I'm the same, but going way back to the video situation.
This all started with a story about a videographer, didn't it?
We do this on a tangent and then come back in. So I started I text me like, I can't do this anymore. I'm gonna at least offer it. And I'd say probably like a week later, Paul, who lives opposite me, didn't even know he'd done filmmaking of some sort, because he was doing like I don't know, promo videos for companies and this, that, and the other. Didn't even know he'd done wedding films.
This is obviously before he had his van then.
That's the thing. He had his van. He hadn't had his sign written. So I walk out to the house to walk down to where I was working previously. Where
I was just going to say his van. I was very impressed the first time I met Paul. What a sick van.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? It's like a TARDIS, that is.
He's got everything all neatly organized. Yeah. He's got all his Pelly cases on racks. He's got everything like, first time I worked with Paul, I think I was helping him actually to shift some gear back to the van, and I was just expected to open the door and chuck it all in the back, but he opened the door.
What we would do.
I was like, wow, look at that. Fair play.
Yeah. So Paul has his van sign written, and I walk out to the house and I'm just standing there looking at this van going, wedding films, and I'm like, where did this come from? So I was like, I had to Google it. I was like, oh my god, they look quality. So I was like, look, I seen him. I was like, look, do you fancy doing something here? Hi. So it went from there, and basically now Paul, and we're going to be announcing it soon, but Paul is going to be shooting exclusively for me going forward.
Cool.
That's not because of like the amount of film and this, that, and the other I've got. It's just Paul's decided to go back into full-time work. So
right, okay, cool.
He's gonna slow his business down, and then I would just kind of feed him weddings now and again. So it's kind of because he's got all the gear and stuff. So that was perfect for him.
Yeah, he's got a custom built van for it. Yeah.
Well, he hasn't now because it's all in my attic. The amount of stuff that he gave me is like cranes and stuff. Is when my attic doesn't come down. But so that's the plan going forward, basically. So,
and you haven't set up a crane yet for the podcast? What's wrong?
Breaking news.
Breaking news. I thought this camera shot of you right now, if anyone's watched on YouTube, I thought it would have been going up and down, and if you got jibs and cranes and stuff.
Know what? I sent him the link to the YouTube for the last episode. And his first comment back was, there's a slider upstairs. He's like, you could put something into it. I was like, look, let's just get this at least kind of halfway okay. Maybe, I think at some point we'd obviously do it in the same place. I might have maybe different angles and stuff. That'd be pretty cool.
You have to go into my cupboard, Phil.
Yeah. But look, we'll figure something out. But
I'll make room for you, do I?
It'd be a lot easier though, wouldn't it, do it in the same place? I mean, no computers really. Wouldn't need that. Just have a recorder and a mic. You wouldn't even need headphones.
No,
there you go.
True.
There you go. So yeah, that's my Phil's breaking news of the week. So
nice. That's cool.
We haven't. I'm probably going to be announcing it, I would say, next couple of weeks. I would say I need him to do a bit of a promo.
So if you are a Ffotocast listener, then you will literally, this is breaking news.
Yeah.
you get to hear the news before it goes on the Facebook page.
Don't they save things like this for Patreon and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Imagine people paying for extra content from us.
Poor buggers.
God, I would never do that. So yeah. So how's your week been?
Yeah, it's been good, I think. Yeah, it's gone quickly. As I said, it's kind of flown by, which is odd because it does feel like we've been in January for 3 months.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's been good. I've had a couple of shoots on this week. I've done some work with Doomsday.
Cool.
They launched some new products this week. So we did some studio white background stuff, and one of the boys who kind of models for Doomsday came into the studio, and we did some of him wearing some of the clothes, which was nice.
Cool. Happy days.
And yeah, just be busy with admin.
Yeah. You have to shift many weddings.
Repeat what we talked about the last couple of weeks, but yeah, there's been more of it.
Months. Yeah.
There's been more people rescheduling now, and annoyingly, I think it's the 11th of June.
Okay.
2022. That is a popular date for rescheduling. That is.
Check my calendar.
I've had 3 couples all email me the same day.
Oh.
All want to switch to the 11th of June. And sadly, it's not a case of, this might be the date. It's like, we have moved it to this date. Are you free? Yeah. So I've now got 3 weddings, which, that would have been £4,500 worth of business. 2 of them, I haven't got much choice. So, is what it is, I suppose, isn't it? It's a bit of a bummer, but and that's the thing. Like, I see a lot of photographers posting online, please get in touch with me before you reschedule. But everyone seems to be like ignoring that. I think, as important as their photographer or their other suppliers are, the important thing is the date. And I think there's a lot of scaremongering almost. Like, don't delay, if you're going to reschedule, make sure you get the date you want now, So, I've had to deal with a few clashes of dates, unfortunately. But
yeah,
I was fortunate last year that all the rescheduled dates that I did, I think I only lost 1. But yeah, I've lost 2 on the same day, which is a bummer. But you know what? It is what it is. These things happen. Just gotta move on, and sadly, you have to go and find another photographer now. But
I don't know how I feel about it. I've seen a few people sort of talking about, getting in touch. Obviously it makes sense getting in touch, but
I've asked a few times, I've put on my story a few times, but you don't want to seem like you're begging or you're desperate, like, oh, please, it's because to be fair, the wedding's not about you.
But it's how you do it, isn't it? Is it the fact I don't like it when people say, like, if someone's wedding's in June and they're like, oh, maybe you should start looking at rescheduling now, or say, well, it's not up to us to dictate. And then on the flip side, it's the same as people going, well, maybe you should start thinking about having a micro wedding.
I mean,
how far you let them decide what they want, not you dictate to them what they should have for their wedding day. And that's that's wound me up this week.
And that's what I mean when I say, it's more about just the photographers, the couple getting married. It's a shame for us photographers to lose out on work because of it. But
it sucks. But hey, that's business at the end of the day. You know what I mean? It does. It's terrible that everyone's going through it. But a wedding hopefully is only one thing you do ever. So.
But the problem is with these micro weddings, I don't think it's going to be viable for people to do it because the venues are not going to give you a price per head on 10 or 15 guests.
No.
You booked your wedding at a package with 100 people at whatever, and that might have cost you £10,000.
Yeah.
You might think to yourself, oh, I know, I'll have a micro wedding instead with just 10 or 15 people, and it's only going to cost me £1,000.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't work like that. The venue will say, okay, yeah, if you want to reduce your numbers, you can, but it's, your package is still going to be
go up.
£6,000 or £7,000. So then you think, well, actually, that price per head is just extortionate. So yeah, let's just reschedule.
Yeah,
so I think that's,
totally agree.
I think there will be. I picked up a new booking this week for April this year, and they said we're just going to get married in the registry office.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, well, their initial email was, we just want half an hour of your time.
Yeah.
I was just thought, how do you kind of price half an hour of your time for a wedding? So I kind of said, well, it's going to be at least an hour and a half, I'd imagine. I said I could do that. That's fine. Or if you want to kind of extend the afternoon and we go off for a photo shoot and, I come to the restaurant with you for food, that could be a few £100 more or whatever. And they said, no, there's only 8 guests. So we're not going to need you for 4 or 5 hours. It's literally just going to be, I was like, yeah, cool. So that is a micro wedding, I think. 8 guests. That is a small one. But they just said it's been impossible to arrange stuff. So we really want to get married, and we're just going to do it. But that's fine because they didn't already have a wedding arranged. They're just going ahead and getting married during the pandemic. So I think their options are a lot more, open. To somebody that's kind of at the mercy of the venue and what the government say in terms of, how many people are allowed. And I'll give you a classic example. My brother and his fiance, they've rescheduled twice now.
We do need to get your brother on as well.
Yeah. He's he said he'd be up for it. So he we're supposed to get married 27th of March last year. So that was like, a week or two after lockdown. So they rescheduled and blah, blah. But now they're at the point where they could go ahead this May with potentially 30 guests based on that's what we were allowed last summer. We might be allowed 30 this summer, but again, nobody knows. So because they've had to potentially cut from 100 guests to 30, they said, well, that is such a hard chop. It would be easier just to have literally our immediate family, which would be, their parents and their siblings, and they, it'd be like 12 or 13 guests. That would be the easy chop. You could say to all your other friends and family, look, I'm sorry guys, it's literally just immediate. But they have to have the minimum number that the government allow at the time. So if they wanted to have 12 guests, but the government says 30, then
it's 30 they're paying for.
You pay for 30, yeah. But it's just that's a hard number to get down to then, because the bride and the groom are going to have to say, right, okay, well, let's have 2 or 3 friends each, aunties and uncles or whatever, So it's like, be easier just to have 12.
Sort of no man's land, isn't it? It is, I mean,
so they were thinking, okay, let's just go ahead with 30, but now they've kind of reconsidered and thinking, well, maybe it's just best to postpone it again until next year and have the 100 that we were supposed to have, and then at least you're not, having to have awkward conversations with people about, oh yeah, you were invited, but now you're not, and blah, So
yeah, it does annoy me a little bit when people do talk about that. They start saying like, oh yeah, consider, or I recommend. I think I sent you a message about that, didn't I? About like someone said about, I recommend you have a micro wedding. Whoa, hang on a second. What gives you the right to dictate to me what I would do for my wedding? It's like, yeah, I'll take all the info and I'll make the decision. But
yeah,
that, and I get it, because we obviously do want to shoot some weddings. We want work.
Yeah, of course.
That's not for us to force our opinion on someone else. So I just thought that that's kind of been a bit, I don't know, rude, I think, in that sense. But I did see today there's a BBC article about the actual laws of the wedding might be changing. They've proposed about, and we've talked about it on here, where previously legal structures have been, most venues have expanded into outdoors and stuff, but the pandemic has really highlighted the old-fashioned way of doing things because it's not allowing people to get married outdoors. So it would have been that, at least some or more weddings would have gone ahead. So the economy would have been a little bit better if, let's say, people could get married anywhere. So it looks like it's going to change. So it's for us going forward.
And for anyone listening that doesn't know, if you want to get married legally, it has to be in the structure that you get married in has to be licensed to be able to hold your wedding in it. So like
a pub.
Like a pub.
A pub's licensed to sell alcohol. So yeah.
Yeah. But they say structure being, if you want to get married on lawn outside a venue, you have to have a physical structure for the paperwork to be done underneath, because
3 walls and a roof, I think, is the technical.
Yeah, because those 3 walls and a roof has to be licensed specifically for that wedding. So, yeah, stupid.
I mean, it really highlights that, doesn't it?
It does. Like, I've shot weddings in Italy, and their rules are way more relaxed.
Rooftop.
You can literally, it's rooftop of a castle. Yeah, cool. Let's have the ceremony there.
Why not? Why not?
Now, they did have a temporary structure in place that was to block the sun. But that was just because it was August in Italy, so it was absolutely boiling. But I think once they do change that law, over here, it'll just give everyone way more freedom. You literally be able to go get married on the beach, or on top of a cliff, or in a lighthouse, or in a tree house, or in the middle of a forest. And people do have weddings in those places, but they're not actual weddings. They're just kind of fake weddings because they have to get married in the registry office.
Fake wedding. I'm sure they wouldn't take kindly to that, but I know what you mean. This sort of blessings, and stuff like that.
That's the wrong word to use, fake wedding. But it's
but
they got married already.
Like a wedding, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it is. But they're doing a blessing rather than getting married. So,
and to be honest, those ones are probably way more important to them. Have more meanings than the actual getting married in a registry office or something.
Yeah, but I think I'd get married on a beach. Yeah, why not?
It could be anything in a top of a car park or something like that. It could be anywhere, couldn't it? As long as you got permission for that area. But I thought initially it would hurt the venues a little bit, but I don't actually think it will, because people will always need someone. We always need a venue for staying, for food, for the staff. So if you think about, this is great, everyone's going to start having stuff in the woodland or whatever, it doesn't always work like that, because you need whether it's food or a wedding planner or these sort of things. So I think it will still get people get married in venues. I just think you'll get more people going elsewhere.
I think it'll just kind of create like a little kind of sub industry within the wedding industry where kind of like it's proper DIY then
and stuff.
Cool.
I'll welcome it. I mean, I've always thought that two registrar thing was crazy.
You mentioned that a few times, haven't you?
Yeah, it's really been highlighted this year. So so there you go. That's I'll put the link to that BBC article into the Facebook group. I think most people have probably seen it at this point in the wedding industry, because it is it's quite big news. But I'll do that today. Anything else you've been getting on with or changing, or? Well,
apart from changing my cupboard around,
the room cupboard.
And changing weddings around. Trying to. No, nothing much.
Did you see big day in the studio yesterday for me? Did you see the signage going up?
Yeah, I did actually. That looked really cool.
It was sick. I was really happy with it. It does.
Nice.
I think it's one of those things where it's only a box sign. It's nothing really. But
does it light up? Has it got a bulb in it?
No, it doesn't. No, I didn't really want anything. I wanted it quite discreet. Yeah. Because I don't. It's not. It doesn't say studio. It just says loft. So for me, it was all about when people are coming here, they already know what to look for. So that's just an extra kind of hint to where it is, because obviously it's not that obvious. So it was kind of like, it's not advertising. It's more of a road
Subtle
sign.
branding. Yeah.
You know, it's like it's you might as well put a foam finger out to say Sir, but
Yeah, that's exactly the same as my place. I've just got my logo above the door,
yeah.
LW, and I just tell people to go to the post office before you, as if you're going to walk into the post office, look to your left and you'll see my logo, and then you know that that's the door.
That's it. Yeah. So because I didn't have anything, I mean, it's probably like 2 months too late because obviously no one's coming here at the moment. But, and I did.
They
like
will be though. They will be.
Yeah. I had like 105 Christmas shoots. So it would have been nice to have that here. But there you go. But yeah, I'm really happy with it. I got just a subtle window graphics on the 3 windows and the box sign at the side. So it just
Nice.
for me, it just felt like it completed it a bit more. You know, it's like it feels like a business now, where before it was just like a room upstairs.
Yeah.
There you go.
I know what you mean.
It was quite good.
Class.
Yeah.
I look forward to keeping my eye out for the sign next time I come up.
Yeah. I mean, it's a perfect spot because obviously people park up the street, and this isn't the main street. Even the address is for the main street, so you can see it from the main street, but you can also see it from where you park. So that's why I wanted that type of sign. Yeah, and I didn't want anything like photography studio and this that, because I have people coming in for like asking me about passport photographs, and you know.
Well, actually, I had a speaking of passport photograph, the other morning, my phone was ringing at like 7:45 in the morning. I was thinking,
okay.
And I kind of like woke up, looked at the screen, and it wasn't a name, it was a number. So I was like, oh, you know what, I'll ring him back later. And it was a voicemail from a guy looking for passport pictures.
Okay.
And it was obviously very important because he was ringing me at 7:45 in the morning. So that was just a quick phone call back. I think your best bet is to go to the spa, go in that little booth they got and pay a $5. You know.
Can I pick your brains on this one?
Yeah.
Did you get many phone calls?
Not many. Not many. Why is that?
What's the type of person you get the phones you? Have you ever booked a wedding or any job off a phone call?
I don't know.
It's not a loaded question. I'm not like dropping you into anything, but
no, like you see stats from Google, however many people, like, I don't know if you look at that email every month, but it kind of tells you where your traffic's come from and how many people have clicked on your phone number. So yeah, the phone does ring sometimes, but 98% of business comes through email or social media messaging. Or if it is a phone call, it's usually like the older generation.
Yeah, for me, it's quality of inquiry. I think is probably the bottom. Every time I've had a phone call,
true. It's quite often if it's a phone call, it's like a bride's mum who's like, oh, you know, they've just taken the initiative to well, my daughter's getting married, I'm going to ring some people now. And like what it is my daughter's getting married. Great. Yeah. What's your daughter's email address? Yeah. I'll send her. Oh, no. Send it to me. But I'm like, and I get that, you know, if like sometimes the parents will pay for the photography, but like, I want to deal with the bride and groom because they're the ones I'm going to be working with, you know, and not that often, but
they're not good, are they? I mean, I had a phone call this week and I just had a good chat with him, you know, and seemed a nice guy. And I said, look, you know, you got my number online, so just drop me an email, fill out a contact form if you want to have a meeting and stuff. Because I can't give you anything right now. I could take your email address down, but I just knew that it was probably gonna, you know, it was a waste of my time because every phone call I've ever had, they've either been nutcases or it's just been a pointless waste of time. So I was just like, look, you know, here's my website. Obviously, you know what it is. Just drop some message through there, and not you'd back. I mean, the last phone call I had.
But sometimes I do like ring customers. So like, I don't know if we're going back and forth on email.
Yeah.
Especially about rescheduling dates.
Definitely.
I'd be like, you know, I'm just going to give you a call. And I think you can get a lot more achieved on a phone call than you can on a string of emails.
Definitely.
But then at the same time, you've got a record of what's said between people on messages and email. So, you know, and I do find that useful because obviously a lot of our bookings are made 18 months, 2 years in advance, it is good to be able to go back through that email and say, oh, okay, yeah, this person mentioned that they were interested in a bigger album, or, you know, this, that, or the other. And at least you can kind of make notes and you can look at, oh, okay, yeah. Whereas if it was all done on the phone, unless you're physically making notes while you're chatting, which
not great, is it?
Doesn't always happen, because you pick up a call when you're driving or whatever, you know, and
I struggle to take notes doing this podcast.
Yeah.
let alone a phone call. But yeah, I mean, I totally agree. Like I spent I'd say a couple of hours this week on phone calls talking about exactly what you're saying, rescheduling, you know, giving people options and just talking through it, giving my advice really based on it. Because you know, we've gone through this now with so many couples that I think
experts at it now. Experts at rescheduling.
So yeah,
I do get a lot of phone calls from call centers.
Okay.
You know, spam calls. I think because obviously, like, your mobile number is your business number and it's all over the internet.
Everywhere. I
think it's easy for these companies just to add you onto the list. So I get at least 8-9 phone calls a week.
Yeah, I'm pretty
people
similar.
trying to sell you insurance or Google AdWords or, you know, just rubbish.
Yeah, totally agree. Same here. Yeah, so I'll let you know if I get an inquiry through from that guy. I'll keep you posted, but I don't think I will. But there you go. Yeah. Anything else? I think it's a short episode this week. I think we'd might be sub 1 hour, but it's not a bad thing. It's less to edit.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's the start of a new month tomorrow. So so yeah, going forward, we're going to have a few guests coming on the podcast.
We keep saying that, but
it's happening. It is happening.
Yeah. We do have a few, but yeah, it's just a case of like pinning them down, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So watch this space. Instead of listening to me and Phil going on about our
rescheduling and phone calls,
rescheduling and phone calls and stuff, we can pick the brains of some of our fellow wedding industry colleagues.
Or non-wedding industry as well. We've talked about having a few people on. There's another guy that actually I wouldn't mind getting on. He seems to have been doing everything in Cherokee recently about people's shop fronts. He does graffiti. There's T2 Sugars, his name is. So he's got a YouTube channel.
T2 Sugars.
T2 Sugars. Yeah, check out his stuff. It's really good. Really good.
Don't have to ask him how he takes his tea, do you?
Yeah, I know. That's probably what it is come from. He's sat outside. Everyone's like, "Oh, do you want a brew?" T2 Sugars. So I wouldn't mind getting him on. I've seen him like working in freezing cold the past probably month now, and he's done some incredible work up and down Cherokee. I got to be honest, and in wider areas. But it just seems to be Cherokee seems to have latched onto it and got involved there. So yeah, I'd be keen to get him on at some point. So
cool.
That's it. Yeah, I think that's me done.
That is episode 35 wrapped.
Yes, all done. Right. Well,
thanks for listening as always, everyone. Phil, where can we check you out?
Instagram.
Apart from YouTube. Obviously, we can check you out on YouTube now.
And 2020 Year in the Review is live. Will be posted tonight. So
no way.
I'll be posting that everywhere so I can get some traffic to my website because it's been poor recently. So on Instagram at Phil Warren Photo, or my studio stuff at Loft Studio UK. And what about you, Lloyd? Where can everyone find about you?
If you're watching on YouTube, I think you can just look below my face and I'll tell you everything you need to know. If you're still listening on the old-fashioned podcast, you know. Only joking. We're not ditching the podcast. I actually had that on Instagram when I put up about the YouTube channel. Yeah. There was people like, oh no, you should stick to podcasting. So don't worry, it is still staying as a podcast, by the way. But it's also also online as well.
We can do it. That's the other thing. It doesn't really add much complexity into what we do anyway. You know, it was a case of
we're always talking to each other anyway on Zoom. So we're just hitting record on there. So it's kind of no different really. Apart from you can see now every time Phil does his inverted commas.
Inverted commas,
he does that quite often. So
if you are watching this on YouTube, don't forget hit the like, hit subscribe, and drop a comment down below as well, because that's pretty important to us.
Definitely.
And yeah, I think that's about it.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for listening, guys, and we'll catch you next week on episode number 36.